What's up, dude? Look at this. I bought this thing. Isn't this cool? Look. What? What? Yeah. Amazon. Yeah. What's up to the? What's up, chat? I actually am going to start using a GoPro that I'm going to put in the back of the room.
Wait, can you watch this over
Yeah.
again? Wow. Okay.
All right, folks. We're going. If you're staying in here and you do not wish to participate, that's fine, but try not to get in the way. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to everyone out there in the world doing their thing. They left. All right. I don't know. Robert Smith. We're talking today. Also in the chat, if anyone in the chat can help me figure out how to flip the screen so that the writing's not the opposite way. Yeah. Let me know. Holler at your boy. Yeah. Huh? We're on page in your workbook. We're going over page. Yeah, 40 to 44. So we're doing two. Yo, we're doing two. I'm trying to do this. I can't. You can't be doing that. We're doing it gets in my way. I can't concentrate. We're doing two topics that I'm going over today. The first one is the concert of Europe and European conservatism. There's only 3 questions here. These are two really brief topics. And then the other one is revolutions. Oh, reactions and revolutions. Again, page 40. The first one we're going to do is page 41. I'm on page 41. All right, so question number 1 on page 41. Okay, read that question. What? Good. So, what is the conservative response to mass movements of people, right, in Europe at this time as a result of the Industrial Revolution? What's up? Yeah, I gave her the thing. Ah, shit. Maybe I didn't. I came in and told her about it. I'll get it to her. Her stuff's here. Mix swirly. Swirly or mix swirly? Swirly. Sorry. We're live. We're live on this. We're live on the stream now. Yeah, So, what is conservatism? Generally, conservatism works like this. We don't like change. Okay, keep things the way that they are. Right? You'll hear the term conservative values. That's something that develops. Okay, but it's basically status quo. Typically, particularly this time, the people that would be conservatives or believe in conservatism would be those that are doing pretty well in the structure that's in place. So as there's this mass movement of people and goods, there are people that start to have concerns, all right, about the potential for social upheaval and the erosion of traditional values. This is in the Industrial Revolution in the 18 and 1900s. And it's something you still hear about today. We're discussing and debating this very topic today in the modern Western world due to increases in immigrant populations throughout Europe and the United States. Anytime there is a mass movement of people, right, there are people that are in the place that the people are coming to will get concerned, it's human nature, about things changing, right? Again, particularly if things are going pretty well. More people can put a strain on resources, right? A perfect example is if you pay attention, if you watch the news today, in New York City, right, there is a massive increase in recent immigrants, right? It's a sanctuary city. So They are accepting of first generation immigrants. So the city is so overwhelmed that now New York City is talking about cutting their budget by like a couple $1 billion. Okay. Reason being they are spending a lot of money that the city has budgeted for services that the people that live in the city, right, depend on, but they can't afford to take care of the people that are coming into the city and the people that are there, right? So it's putting a strain on their economy. And as a result, there are a lot of people in New York City right now that are adopting a very conservative view that, you know, there are concerns that this massive influx or mass movement is going to upend, right, the traditions and social structure of New York City. Now, I'm not making an argument. I'm not saying they're correct. I'm not saying they're incorrect. I'm just giving you an example of how this same conversation will happen again and again throughout different periods of history when there are mass movements of people, and we're currently in one. It will be. All right. A prominent European conservative, a prominent European conservative of this era, Edmund Burke. Okay. Clemson von Matrice. They resist democratic reforms and advocate for the preservation of hierarchical structures. Again, this goes back to a lot of like the Hobbesian theory, right? Society needs strong men or individuals, absolute monarchs, needs hierarchies, right? They're believing in a lot of social theory and political theory that is dependent upon the existing structures of class and government and politics and society, right? And as more and more people move in to Europe and the social structure changes, they believe that that is a net is and it will be a net negative. Obviously, that's not necessarily the case. We know that. Next question. Read me the question. I have impact of something.
Reluctance to advocate for democracy as proposed alternative. Additionally, examine the fears expressed by Joseph Day Astray, Clemens von Metternich regarding revolutions like the French.
Good. So this is one of the reasons why we're not doing. This is what I was telling you guys about before. Here's a perfect example of like rehashing territory we already did. We talked about conservatism briefly when we did the French Revolution, right? Because it's kind of a it's in that chapter, and it's a blowback response to the French Revolution. So again, this is repetitive stuff. That's why we're not spending a lot of time on it. And here we are talking about the French Revolution again. The French Revolution significantly changes traditional positions of power, including monarchies, the church, and the military. Okay, monarchies face the threat of overthrow and are replaced often by republics. The church suffers from a secularization of society, and the military underwent changes in loyalty and command structures. So basically, the French Revolution not only impacts France, right, and it impacts France obviously the most to the most significant degree, but it impacts the rest of Europe and freaks the rest of Europe out. Why? Because it's an example in Europe of what happens if you have one of these revolutions. And what happens as a result of the French Revolution? Basically, the haves, the people in power, right, are put out of power. And a lot of them not only lost their positions of wealth and privilege, but also lost their heads because they were executed. Right now, some of them survived, and when Napoleon comes in, get restored. But a lot of people lost what they had, and so the rest of Europe, when they're watching this, uh, revolution take place, they're freaked out and they want no parts of it. Right? So they start to formulate arguments and point out the flaws in the French Revolution and formulate arguments against the French Revolution, why it's bad for society and for people in an attempt to prevent it from happening in the countries that they're in. Okay, it does have, obviously, the French Revolution had a significant impact on France's military. Um, the military in France pre-revolution is one of the aristocracy, right? Military officers are appointed based on their family, their prestige, their wealth. That changes to an extent under Napoleon. It becomes more merit-based. Um, the church is it loses a lot of its control in France during the revolution. Why? Because the new religion becomes the revolution and the theories and philosophies of liberalism. And so religion takes a back seat. And finally, the church, positions of power. Positions of power, we talked about that. All right. So the different conservative European authors propose a gradual reform and a respect for historical continuity, right? They express fears about the chaotic nature of revolutions and the potential for anarchy. And they're not wrong, right? They're not wrong, because the French Revolution is a mess, right? It doesn't really work. It doesn't work out that well. We talked about that when you have revolutions, you have to be careful. You have to be careful that you're focusing your revolution and your change on the wrong thing, right? If you make your revolution about an individual and replacing that individual, and you just get them out, it creates a power vacuum and doesn't really solve any of the systemic problems that you have in your society. The French Revolution led to the rise of Napoleon because it was messy. All right. And so they're not wrong there. Now, why are they saying this? Are they saying this because, they believe that it's what's in the best interest of everyone involved? Not necessarily. They're saying it because these are people that benefit from the traditional structures of society. And so they don't want things to change because change is probably going to be bad for them, right? Doesn't mean they're wrong just because they have ulterior motives, and doesn't mean just because they're not necessarily wrong that they're good people or, you know, doing it because they're kind. Emily, did you get that permission slip? All right. Conservative agenda and the Congress of Vienna. Okay. The Congress of Vienna is a massively conservative document. Okay. So after Napoleon, Europe, and again, this is the ebb and flow of history. Periods of revolution are often followed by periods of conservatism. And the reason being, periods of revolution are often very chaotic, even if they, result in net positive outcomes for society and for individuals. It's a period of chaos. It's often a period of uh, a lack of stability, socially, economically, right? And people that live through that instability, a lot of times when it's done and the dust settles, they want stability. They want things to calm down. People will only put up for chaos for so long, even if it's, heading in the right direction. And so the Congress of Vienna basically resets the chessboard, not only pre-Napoleon, but pre-revolution, right? And it returns France, and in doing so, Europe in a lot of ways, to what life was like and what the structures were like before Napoleon and before the French Revolution. Okay. Yeah. Do what? What? This? Okay. So that's that topic. Done. All right. Basically, what is the premise here? The premise is that during the Industrial Revolution, it is a revolution, right? There's a lot of change going on. It is a different revolution from, say, the French Revolution. The French Revolution and others like it, right, are attempting to change society and government, which results in impacts causing changes on things like business, economy, etc. Okay, systemic structure. The Industrial Revolution is almost the opposite. It is the change in some of the systemic structures that in turn causes change in the way that people think and interact and want the world to work. Okay, and that possible or pending change, or that growing swell for change, freaks out a lot of people and creates a rise in the popularity of conservatism. Because when people are benefiting from the things the way they are, they don't want them to change. You don't have to write everything I write. All right, next topic. This is very similar to the one that we just did. This is revolutions, reactions and revolutions. I believe so. So, as the Industrial Revolution is taking place, it, as I just said, it does cause some revolutions in Europe to occur, or pushes some already trending movements over the edge. Right? Industrialization will do two things that will lead to revolutions in other countries. One, it's going to increase the abuse and the inequity between classes. And two, almost at the same time, it's going to create new classes in the social or political hierarchy, and or increase or develop leverage that the lower, middle, or lower classes have in society and in politics. Because for the first time, they have direct involvement, or they are an integral part of the economy of and of production. Once they figure that out, they then have leverage and can kind of push, right, for change. So Greece gains its independence through a combination of military resistance and diplomatic support. European powers like Great Britain, France, and Russia play a critical role in supporting the Greek aspirations for independence. So we're going to have a Greek revolution and Greek independence during this period, 1815 to 1914. Okay. We're going to have a movement in Russia aimed to establish a constitutional monarchy and limit the autocratic power of the czar. Their goals include the adoption of a constitution, individual freedoms, and political reforms, reflecting the influence of a liberal and nationalist. Influencing liberal and nationalist ideals. And that's going to be revolutionary in Russia. Yes, and political reforms. Obviously, we have the French Revolution, which is kind of pre-industrial revolution. But then we have the July Revolution of 1830, which happens in France, and it's focused on specific issues like the demand for a constitutional monarchy and increased political representation. The July Revolution achieves the constitutional reforms, including the expansion of suffrage, without the radical upheaval of the earlier revolution. So what the July Revolution in France is it's basically the French having the same goals that they had during the French Revolution, but learning from the mistake of doing it the way that they did the first time. July? What did I say? Did I say March? For some reason, when you said that, I was like, did I say March? All right. What's suffrage? Anybody know what suffrage is? Good. So if I said I want to end women's suffrage, would you be for that? Are you gonna say If I wanted to advocate for I'm not saying I do. If I was advocating for legislation ending women's suffrage, what would I be supporting a law for? Correct. There's a great video on YouTube of people going around trying to get people to sign a petition to end women's suffrage, and he gets like all these signatures. It's wild. These people don't know what it means. They don't. They think suffrage means suffering. So it's hilarious. He goes to like college campus and he's like, "This is a petition ending women's suffrage," and they're like, "Yeah, I agree." And he's like, "I think it's the worst thing ever," and all these women are like, "I agree, it's terrible." And he's like, "We should stop it now," and they're like, "Yes, we should." It's funny. That was like early days of YouTube too, before like people walking around on TikTok with phones and doing all that. Yeah, this dude was way ahead of his era. No, unsuccessful Polish Revolution. All right, Poland faces challenge due to internal divisions, lack of international support, and a strong opposition of neighboring powers like Russia and Prussia. Unlike some of the successful revolutions of the time, the Polish rebellion lacked coordinated efforts and external backing. So the people of Poland go after some of this very similar things that the people of France and Greece went after, but they are unsuccessful. And a lot of it's because they don't get no help from the outside. Excuse me, we're streaming. There are literally millions. There are millions of people. Okay. Revolutions, Wars, and Reforms, 1848. What time is whatever? Is this the last question? Is two the last question? All right, we'll pick that up another time. So that's it. We're gonna stop there. That's it for today. Thank you to everyone that joined us. We'll see you same time, same place for the rest. What should it be? That sounds a little authoritarian. This is Smythe. All my friends out there in Smytheville. Shout out to all the people around the world doing their thing. What did I used to say in Patriot News? I can't remember. All right, see you guys next time. I used to have a sign out